folks. Gather around the campfire and get ready for some laughs, because today we're diving into a game that's pure chaotic joy. It's called Outrun the Bear.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this one.
It's a game where you and your friends play as campers who, let's be honest, could really use some of that counter-assault bear spray we'll be talking about later.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What makes this game so captivating is the way it blends strategic decision-making with just sheer hilarious panic.
Yes.
You're not just running, mindlessly running. You're trying to outsmart both the bear and your friends.
Right.
While navigating a wilderness that is determined to trip you up.
At every turn. It's like a camping trip gone wrong, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't dreamt of escaping a bear?
Oh, yeah.
Like a rampaging bear. But in this game, you get to do it with cards that let you pull off some seriously funny moves.
That's right. And, the game's humor, that's definitely one of its biggest strengths.
Mm-hmm.
It's woven into the artwork, the card names, and even the game mechanics themselves.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For example, the way the bear's movement is determined by the cards players discard.
Oh, that's smart.
That is genius.
Yeah.
It creates this delightful tension where you're constantly trying to guess what your opponents might throw away.
Right.
All while hoping they don't accidentally send the bear hurtling towards you.
Right. Imagine playing a high-value card to sprint ahead, thinking you're safe, only to realize you've just given the bear a turbo boost straight towards your best friend.
Oh, absolutely.
The look on their face would be priceless.
The game is full of those, oh no, what have I done moments.
Yeah.
And that's where the laughter really kicks in.
Oh, yeah.
It's a game that encourages players to embrace the absurdity of the situation and just enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that ride involves being chased by a very hungry bear.
Speaking of the bear, Can we talk about how the game manages to make even a terrifying predator kind of adorable?
Yeah.
The artwork is so charming, with the bear bumbling along, almost looking apologetic as it gobbles up unsuspecting campers.
You're right. It's brilliant. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, and that lightheartedness is infectious.
Yeah.
You can't help but laugh even when you're the one about to become bear food.
Okay, so we've established that Outrun the Bear is hilarious, but it's also a game with some actual strategy, right?
Oh, yeah.
From what I've seen, players move along this modular path, which for those unfamiliar with board game lingo just means the path is made up of tiles you can arrange differently every time you play.
You got it. And that modular path is filled with all sorts of terrain features that can help or hinder your escape. You've got rivers that can push you forward, slippery slopes that might send you sliding back towards the bear, and brambles that can completely block your sprint.
Whoa.
So many obstacles.
It's like a wilderness obstacle course designed by a bear with a wicked sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you've got the cards, which are the heart of the game's strategy.
Yeah.
They allow you to do all sorts of crazy things, from crawling through the underbrush to sprinting ahead to wait for it, sabotaging your fellow campers.
Yes, the infamous take that cards. These cards introduce just this delicious layer of chaos and player interaction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they let you do things like make another player draw more cards, which could speed up the bear.
Oh, no.
Or you can steal their equipment, or even swap positions with them, leaving them face to face with the furry terror.
Talk about a friendship test.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the game is saying, sure, you can work together to outrun the bear, but wouldn't it be more fun to throw each other under the bus?
Right.
Or in this case, the bear's claws.
The take that element definitely adds a layer of unpredictability and hilarity.
Yeah.
You never know when someone might play a card that completely changes the game.
Right.
And that keeps everyone on their toes, constantly looking over their shoulder for both the bear and their so-called friends.
So it's like a trust exercise gone wild. But hey, maybe that's part of the appeal. It's a chance to let loose, embrace the silliness, and maybe even get a little revenge on that friend who always wins at everything.
Exactly. It's a game that lets you tap into your mischievous side, all in the name of good fun. And survival, of course.
So we've got a modular board, a hungry bear with a surprisingly charming personality, and a deck of cards that lets you pull off all sorts of crazy moves. It's like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
A hilariously entertaining disaster. But tell me more about these cards.
Yeah.
What kind of actions can you actually take?
Well,
Do you literally crawl on your hands and knees across the room?
Well, while I encourage embracing the game's theme, no actual crawling is required.
Okay, good.
The action cards let you do things like move forward a certain number of spaces, change the terrain, draw more cards, or even play a reaction card out of turn.
Ooh, reaction cards. Those sound intriguing.
Yeah.
Like if someone tries to sabotage me, can I play a reaction card to block their devious plan?
Absolutely. Reaction cards are your defense against those take-that attacks.
Okay.
They can negate certain card effects, protect you from the bear's advances, or even turn the tables on your opponent.
Wow. So it's like a constant game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Or in this case, camber and bear.
Right.
With a side of friendly betrayal.
Precisely. The game keeps you guessing, forces you to adapt to changing situations, and most importantly, keeps the laughter flowing. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to deal with a stressful situation is to find the humor in it. And what could be more humorous than trying to outrun a bear with a bunch of your closest friends who are also trying to outsmart you?
I like it.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of Outrun the Bear.
Yeah.
It's a game that embraces the absurdity of life.
Right.
There's moments where you just have to throw your hands up and laugh at the chaos unfolding around you.
Because let's face it, if you're being chased by a bear, a little laughter might be the only thing keeping you sane. But amidst all the silliness, there's a surprising amount of strategic depth to this game. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just about blindly running away.
No, it's not. The game requires you to think several steps ahead.
Okay.
Anticipating not only the bear's movement, but also the actions of your fellow campers.
Right.
Remember those paw prints on the board?
Yeah, the paw print.
They aren't just for decoration.
Yeah.
They represent the bear's potential movement, and they change based on the cards you discard.
Ah, those paw prints. They're like a little heartbeat monitor for the bear's hunger.
Right.
The closer you get to the car, the more paw prints you pass, and the faster that bear can move.
That's right.
Suddenly, those take-that cards become less about playful sabotage
Yeah.
and more about, please, bear, eat them, not me.
Exactly. You have to weigh your options carefully.
Right.
Do you risk playing a high-value card to get yourself ahead, even if it means the bear might close in on someone else?
Right.
Or do you play it safe and hope your friends become the tastier targets?
You know, it's funny you say that because you mentioned earlier that the game can also be played cooperatively.
Yeah.
Is that even possible?
Yeah.
To work together when everyone is so focused on not becoming bear food?
You'd be surprised. The cooperative mode requires a completely different mindset.
Okay.
Instead of trying to outmaneuver each other, you're working together to make sure everyone reaches the safety of the car.
Interesting.
It becomes a true test of communication and teamwork.
So it's like a group therapy session, but with a bear lurking in the background.
Yeah.
You have to put aside your personal ambitions and think about the good of the group.
Precisely. And that can be surprisingly challenging.
Yeah, I bet.
Especially when you're facing a hungry bear and limited resources.
Right.
You have to coordinate your actions, share equipment cards, and make strategic decisions that benefit the entire group, not just yourself.
I bet that leads to some interesting conversations.
Oh, hey, I know you're about to be eaten, but could you please pass me that sprint card? It would be really helpful for the team.
Oh, absolutely. The cooperative mode can be just as hilarious as the competitive mode.
Okay.
But the laughter comes from a different place. It's the shared relief of surviving a close call.
Right.
The satisfaction of working together to overcome a challenge.
Yeah.
And of course, the occasional moment of self-sacrifice, where you willingly throw yourself into the bear's path to save a friend.
Now, that's what I call true friendship. But, you know, even with all this talk about cooperation and self-sacrifice, there's still something undeniably appealing about that take-that element, that chance to unleash your inner prankster. And maybe even get a little revenge on your friends.
Oh, without a doubt. The take-that cards are a key part of what makes the game so fun and unpredictable.
Yeah.
They introduce an element of surprise, keep players on their toes.
Yeah.
And, let's be honest, create some of the most hilarious moments in the game. I mean, who doesn't love watching their friends' carefully laid plans crumble when you slap down a card that sends them tumbling back towards the bear? It's the kind of schadenfreude that only a true friend can appreciate.
Exactly. And that's what makes Outrun the Bear such a special game. Yeah. It allows you to be both strategic and silly, competitive and cooperative, all while providing a healthy dose of laughter and memorable moments.
It's like the perfect blend of brain power and belly laughs.
It is.
But let's be real, the main reason we're all here is because we secretly want to see a bear chase our friends around a cardboard forest, right?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the only reason.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a big part of the appeal. The game taps into that primal fear we all have of being chased by a predator.
Right.
But it does so in a way that's safe, silly, and ultimately satisfying.
Because in Outrun the Bear, Even if you become bear food, at least you're doing it with a smile on your face.
And with the knowledge that you probably deserved it.
Yeah.
Because your friend played a take that card at just the right moment.
That's so mean. But, speaking of different ways to play, we haven't even touched on the game variants and expansions yet.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, the Park Pass variant and the Last Man Standing mode you mentioned earlier. Tell us more about those.
Yeah.
Do they amp up the humor, the strategy, the chances of someone flipping the table in frustration?
Well, I wouldn't say table flipping is encouraged, but these variants definitely add a whole new layer of excitement and complexity.
Yeah.
The Park Pass variant, for example, introduces unique character ability.
Oh, character ability. So it's not just a generic camper anymore.
Nope.
Everyone gets their own special skills and quirks.
Exactly. Each player chooses a Park Pass card that gives them a unique ability.
Okay.
Some abilities let you draw extra cards, others let you ignore certain terrain effects, and some even let you swap positions with another player.
Okay, now that's what I call strategic sabotage. Imagine swapping places with the player who's about to be eaten by the bear. Talk about a close shave. I bet that leads to some serious trash talking.
Yeah.
And maybe even a few broken friendships.
It can get pretty intense, but that's all part of the fun.
Right.
The Park Pass variant adds a layer of unpredictability and player interaction that keeps the game fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
You have to think not only about your own abilities, but also about how they interact with or against the abilities of the other players.
I can see how that would lead to some hilarious moments.
Definitely.
Like, imagine someone using their special ability to steal a crucial card from the player who's in the lead just as they're about to make their escape. The betrayal, the drama, the laughter.
It's a recipe for a memorable game night.
Yes.
And then, of course, we have the Last Man Standing mode.
Oh, yeah. Last Man Standing.
Which is, as you might guess, a bit more cutthroat.
Oh, yeah. That's the one where you keep running until only one person is left uneaten, right?
Yeah.
It's like a battle royale, but with a bear. I'm already picturing the alliances forming the betrayals, unfolding the tears of laughter and despair, mixing together in a beautiful, chaotic mess.
It's definitely a game for those who thrive on competition and aren't afraid to make some enemies along the way.
For sure.
You have to be willing to sacrifice your friends, backstab your allies, and generally embrace your inner Machiavellian strategist.
Sounds like my kind of game night.
Right?
But hey, even if you're not a fan of cutthroat competition, there's still something for everyone in Outrun the Bear.
Oh, definitely.
Whether you prefer cooperative play, strategic sabotage, or just plain silliness, this game has a mode to suit your style.
And that's one of the reasons why it's become such a popular choice for families and game groups alike.
Yeah.
It's easy to learn, quick to set up,
Yeah.
and endlessly replayable.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, the humor is universal appealing to players of all ages and backgrounds.
It's like the great equalizer of board games.
Right.
Whether you're a seasoned gamer or a casual player, everyone can enjoy the thrill of outrunning a bear, even if it's just a cardboard one.
Exactly. It's a game that brings people together, creates shared experiences, and most importantly, reminds us to not take life too seriously.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the best way to overcome a challenge is to laugh in the face of danger.
Yeah.
And maybe take that card on your best friend while you're at it.
As much as we've been joking about, like, betraying our friends and sacrificing them to the bear,
Yeah.
there's actually a really interesting, like, psychological element to this game, isn't there?
What's fascinating here is how the game simulates those real-life moments where we're forced to make tough decisions under pressure.
Right.
Do we prioritize our own survival, even if it means jeopardizing someone else? Or do we try to find a solution that benefits everyone, even if it puts us at greater risk?
You're right. It's like a crash course in ethical decision-making disguised as a hilarious card game. And it's amazing how quickly those take-that cards
Oh, yeah.
can turn a friendly game night into like a cutthroat battle for survival.
Yeah, it's a reminder that even the strongest bonds can be tested when faced with a perceived threat.
Right.
Of course, in the game, those threats are represented by a goofy-looking bear and some silly cards, but the underlying psychological principles are surprisingly relatable.
Yeah, it makes you think about how you'd react in a real-life crisis situation.
Yeah.
Would you be the selfless hero who sacrifices themselves for the greater good? Or would you be the one frantically shoving your friends towards the bear while you make a run for it?
That's a question that's probably best left unanswered. But it's definitely a testament to the game's design that it can spark these kinds of conversations and make us think about our own decision-making processes in a fun and engaging way.
And all comes back to that perfect blend of humor and strategy.
Yeah.
The game is funny enough to keep you entertained even when you're losing, but it's also strategic enough to make you feel like you're actually using your brain.
Exactly. It's not just about luck or random chance.
Right.
There's a real sense of accomplishment that comes from outsmarting your opponents, predicting the bear's movement, and making it to the car in one piece.
Or, watching your friends get eaten by the bear while you laugh hysterically from the safety of the driver's seat. That's a pretty satisfying feeling, too.
All each to their own.
Yeah.
But regardless of your preferred play style, Outrun the Bear is a game that's guaranteed to create memorable moments and leave you wanting more.
Absolutely. And for those who are looking to add even more variety and excitement to their game nights, there are those fantastic expansions and variants we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The Park Pass variant with its unique character abilities and the Last Man Standing mode for those who truly embrace the competitive spirit.
These expansions not only add to the game's replayability, but also provide opportunities to explore different strategic approaches.
Okay.
And experiment with new ways to outsmart your opponents, or in the case of Last Man Standing, eliminate them entirely.
Because nothing says good friends like forcing your buddy to become bear food. But, all jokes aside, Outrun the Bear is more than just a game.
Oh, yeah.
It's a social experience, a laughter generator, and a surprisingly insightful exploration of human behavior.
It's a game that reminds us that even in the face of adversity, a little humor and a healthy dose of competition can go a long way.
You got that right.
And who knows, maybe the skills you learn while playing this game will actually come in handy if you ever find yourself face-to-face with a real bear.
Speaking of real bears, let's not forget about our sponsor, Counter Assault Bear Spray. While Outrun the Bear might be all fun and games, bear safety is a serious matter.
Absolutely. If you're planning any outdoor adventures, especially in bear country, be sure to do your research, take the necessary precautions, and always carry a reliable bear deterrent like Counter Assault.
Because while it might be hilarious to watch your friends get chased by a cardboard bear, a real-life encounter is something you definitely want to avoid. But for now, let's get back to the world of imaginary bears and strategic card play,
where the only thing at stake is your pride and maybe a few friendships.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Outrun the Bear. We hope you've enjoyed this wild ride through the woods. Filled with laughter, strategy, and maybe even a few moments of existential reflection.
If you're looking for a game that's fun, engaging, and guaranteed to bring out your competitive spirit, we highly recommend giving Outrun the Bear a try. You might just surprise yourself with how much you enjoy it and how quickly you're willing to throw your friends under the bus for a chance to survive.
And remember, folks, stay safe out there, both in the game and in the real world.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the fascinating world of games.
And now for a non-sponsored, totally fake advertisement from this episode's non-sponsors.
All right, so last time we were talking about outrunning bears, but sometimes you can't actually outrun a bear in real life, right?
Right, and that's what today's deep dive is all about. Bear spray.
Ooh.
We're looking at information from Counter Assault, a company that knows a thing or two about keeping bears away.
They've got a lot of information on their website, and they emphasize that bear spray is for serious situations, not just any bear sighting.
Yeah, and it's really fascinating because Counter Assault is very specific about when you should use bear spray. It's really meant for two scenarios. If a bear is actually charging at you, or the bear is showing signs of aggression, like huffing and growling.
Like those intimidation behaviors.
Exactly, the ones that you hope you never actually see in real life.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
Exactly.
But it's not like a squirt gun you use on any bear that wanders by.
Definitely not. If a bear is just doing its own thing, not bothering anyone, the best approach is just to give it space. Slowly back away. Bear spray is really for those, oh no, this is really happening moments when you need to deter a potential attack.
So worst case scenario, a bear IS charging at you. Counter Assault lays out how to use the spray effectively. They even factor in the distance.
It's like they've thought of everything. So for instance, if a bear is charging at you from about 60 feet away, you would aim the spray about 30 to 40 feet in front of you, creating this cloud that the bear runs into.
And what about closer up, 30 feet?
Then you aim directly at the bear's face.
Okay.
But it gets really intense if the bear's within 15 feet.
Oh, wow. That's getting a little too close for comfort.
Yeah.
What do they recommend for those super close encounters?
Well, Counter Assault says to try and spray if possible, but also be prepared to play dead, protecting your neck and spraying randomly.
Yikes. It's like a Wild West showdown, except with bear spray.
Instead of 6-shooters.
It's definitely a situation you'd rather avoid,
Right.
but knowing what to do is crucial.
Yeah.
It's like a fire drill.
Yeah.
You might never need it,
Yeah.
but if you do, you'll be glad you practiced.
You'll be glad you know what to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of being prepared.
Yeah.
Now, you might think that bear spray and like self-defense pepper spray are interchangeable, but counter assault makes it very clear that they are not the same thing.
Okay, so what's the big difference? Aren't they both just spicy sprays?
That's a common misconception, but using bear spray on a person is actually illegal.
Okay.
Bear spray is specifically formulated to deter bears,
Right.
and it has a much longer range,
Okay.
40 feet,
Oh,
compared to pepper spray's like 10-foot range.
okay. 40 feet. That's like the length of a school bus.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I could stop a charging grizzly from a safe distance?
Well, ideally, you'd never have to use it,
Yeah.
but yes, that's the goal.
Right. Bear spray also has a higher concentration of the active ingredient, which is called capsaicin.
Okay.
It's what gives peppers their heat.
Oh, wow.
And let's just say it causes a serious sensory overload for bears.
So don't try to substitute your self-defense spray for bear spray
Exactly.
if you're heading into bear country. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight.
Exactly.
Okay.
Speaking of which, Counter Assault is pretty proud of the fact that their bear spray is more environmentally friendly than some competitors.
Wait, really? I didn't expect a product designed to deter a bear to be eco-friendly.
Right. They boast a much lower global warming potential,
Okay.
under 150 compared to over 1,000 for some other brands.
That's impressive. So it's tough on bears, but gentle on the planet. How do they do that?
It comes down to the propellant they use.
Okay.
Counter Assault has developed a formula that's effective but has a smaller environmental footprint.
Wow.
It's a good reminder that even in situations where we need to protect ourselves, we can still make choices that are better for the environment.
All right, so let's say I've got my bear spray. I know when to use it, and I feel good about its eco-friendliness.
Yeah.
What about the shelf life? Does this stuff expire?
Good question. It's like that emergency kit in your car.
Right.
You want to know it'll work when you need it?
Yeah.
Counter Assault states that their cans have a 4-year shelf life.
Okay.
And they're very clear. Replace it after that date.
Got it. No expired bear spray allowed.
Right.
What about disposal? I imagine you can't just toss a used can in the trash.
You are absolutely right. It's considered hazardous waste.
Oh.
They recommend checking with your local waste management or recycling center
Okay.
for proper disposal.
Right.
Some areas like Yellowstone and Glacier National Parks even have dedicated recycling programs for bear spray cans.
That's fantastic. It seems like they've thought of everything.
Okay.
So what does this all mean for our listeners
Yeah.
who might be venturing into bear country?
Well, it means that bear spray is worth considering as an extra layer of protection.
Okay.
It's like an insurance policy. You hope you never need it.
Right.
But having it and knowing how to use it correctly can provide peace of mind.
Yeah.
And a way to handle a potentially dangerous encounter.
Absolutely. But it's important to remember that bear spray is a last resort, not the first line of defense.
Precisely. Avoiding encounters in the first place is always the best strategy.
Okay, so before we wrap up, how about we talk about preventing those close encounters altogether?
Yeah.
What are some things our listeners can do to avoid needing to use their bear spray in the first place?
Well, being aware of your surroundings is key.
Okay.
Pay attention to signs of bear activity like tracks or scat.
Right.
Making noise on the trail, especially in areas with limited visibility,
Right.
can also help alert bears to your presence
Right.
and prevent surprise encounters.
Yeah.
And of course, properly storing food and scented items is crucial.
Right. We don't want to accidentally invite a bear to a picnic. And if someone does decide to carry bear spray, what else should they know?
Well, practice is essential.
Yeah.
You don't want to fumble with the can in a stressful situation.
Right.
Counter Assault even offers training courses and practice canisters,
Oh, yeah.
which is a great way to get comfortable with using the spray.
So it's like a dress rehearsal for bear safety.
Yeah,
You get to practice without accidentally pepper spraying yourself or a nearby hiker.
exactly. And it's a good reminder that bear spray is a serious tool and should be used responsibly.
Right.
Knowing how to use it correctly could be the difference between a safe encounter and a dangerous one.
Well, this has been quite the adventure. We went from playfully outrunning bears in a board game to the reality of safely navigating bear encounters in the wild.
It's a reminder that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to exploring the great outdoors.
Absolutely. So for you, dear listener, before your next adventure, take some time to research this specific regulations and best practices for carrying and using bear spray in the areas you plan to visit. And remember, the best bear encounter is the one that never happens. Stay safe out there.